You should think about it too." "Oh, he'd just love that. You know how he feels about people quitting." Corin grinned. "By then he'll have enough other problems," he said. "He won't give the likes of me and thee a second thought." 1. The rain had cleared just after 9 and left a clear sky that, further inland, would have presaged frost. Now, closing in on midnight, and beneath a coal-black night, bright with frozen stars, Mac stood on the narrow strip of beach and thought about the boy he had left that afternoon. He had taken George up to Hill House just before tea-time. Rain beat down so hard against the windscreen he almost missed the turn into the narrow winding drive. They had joked about the name, Hill House, the way it sounded like something out of a bad horror film, but Mac knew that for George this wasn't really such a good joke. "I felt like I was abandoning him," he said. "I wanted to turn the car around and bring him back here." "You did what you had to do." The elderly woman standing beside him shifted her sensibly shod feet against the shingle. "George knows he has to have a proper place to live. For now, at least." She jabbed hard against the shingle with a walking stick Mac knew she didn't really need, and, one-handed, turned up the collar on her old waxed coat. "She's as upset as I am," Mac thought. They had both become very fond of George, and both felt responsible for him, Rina because she had been there when Edward Parker, George's violent father, had fallen from the cliff at Marlborough Head. Mac's feeling of inadequacy was a little more difficult to define. George's mother had killed herself in Mac's flat, in a place where she was supposed to have been safe. And Mac had not anticipated this, not seen how desperate and lost the woman was. He found it hard to forgive himself. Mac thrust cold hands deeper into his pockets and stared harder at the ink-black ocean that dragged at the shingle just a few yards away. "They were all so damnably cheerful," he complained. "The carers, or whatever you call them. Also, come along in, George, you'll be fine. Just have some cake." He laughed awkwardly, aware suddenly of how petulant he sounded. "I think Paul's parents would have kept George if they could, but they have to jump through the usual hoops first. Seems like a stupid waste of time to me." "I suppose social services have to do things according to their own mysterious plans," Rina said calmly. "They can hardly hand a child over to just anyone, and to them Paul's family are just that, an unknown quantity. And he could hardly have moved in with you now, could he?" She patted Mac's arm. Her bright red woolen gloves greyed out against the bleak, stark black of the night sky. "He'll be all right," she said. "The boy has survived much worse things than over-cheerfulness and the offer of cake." Mac knew he was meant to laugh, but somehow it wouldn't come. "Anyway," she continued, "he has friends who will look out for him. I'd even go as far as to call us family, of sorts." Mac nodded, knowing she was right, hoping it would be enough. "We should go in," Rina said. "You're frozen through." "And you're not?" "Oh, I'm rarely cold, you know that." He glanced sideways, taking in the solid figure in the old waxed coat, twin scarves and straight tweed skirt, topped and tailed by those ugly crepe-soled boots and that unsquashable, shapeless red velvet hat. "Dressed like that, I'm not surprised. You know," he continued as they turned to go, "there was a time when I couldn't even bear to look at the ocean. Couldn't stand the sound of it." "You've come a long way," she said, and nodded emphatically. "Do you still dream about her?" Mac did not immediately respond. Rina was always direct, but this subject, the little girl that Mac had been unable to save, was one that even her straight-to-the-point approach usually diverted around. Mac had confronted her abductor on a beach, very like this one, had seen the child die, forced to watch and been unable to do a damn thing about it.